This instrument, it whispers, it does not shout. And it is this whisper that taught me that small, persistent steps can create a big, resonant journey. This is the story of my life and the story of this instrument. So, join me as I take you on this journey about this instrument and about my life. In Trinidad and Tobago, when music was banned, music didn't stop. African drumming was actually banned, and the music didn't stop. It adapted. So the local natives, they started playing with bamboo, and then they started playing on steel drums, discarded oil drums, and thus the steel pan was born out of that very silence. In India, closer to home, artists like Vikku Vinayakram expanded the Ghattam's voice. One clay pot became many, and artists like Sukanya Ramgopal took it even further when she created the Ghattam Tharang, 7 clay pots tuned to different frequencies. And what was once a rhythmic instrument started singing out in melody. Little did I know that years later, these two instrument forms would inspire a whole new instrument that would change the course of my life. I'll tell you the name of the instrument later, but for now, just listen to its whisper. My own crawl started um, back in Bahrain, wherein my mother quit her job and she used to drive me to Carnatic vocal and piano classes. And my father used to bring home Radio Shack kits. I still remember the smell of solder on my fingers. And I joined a lot of different clubs in college. And somehow, all these scattered steps, without me knowing, were laying a foundation for something even larger. I didn't know this at that time. One evening in the Kudle beach in Gokarna, I saw this instrument for the first time. It sounded so complete, like it sounded like an entire orchestra or an entire musical performance in a single instrument, and I immediately fell in love with it. I wanted one for myself. You see, basically, I loved music my entire life, right? But somewhere along the way, I lost it. So a vocal nodule ended my singing, and my love for the feel of weighted piano keys made the keyboard feel plasticky, or made the keyboard feel what do you call it, very simple. And so slowly music slipped out of my life. But the moment I saw this instrument, it came back. The love for the instrument came back. So I went back home, frantically started searching for what this instrument is, and then I came across this video of a guy called Daniel Waples, an artist called Daniel Waples, playing this instrument in a tunnel in London. And that's when I came to know that this instrument is called the handpan, and that there were very few people around the world who were actually making this instrument. I wanted one for myself, and finally, after a year, I got an instrument and I started playing it. Everywhere I went, I met other artists like myself. So I was playing with my band Mind Map, and everywhere I went, touring with my band, I used to meet other artists like myself who really loved the sound of this instrument. But every time I used to tell them how difficult it was to get one and how expensive it was, they used to be like, I wish I could afford one. And then something inside me shifted. I no longer wanted to just play the instrument, but I wanted to build it. I wanted to make the instrument accessible to other artists, such as myself. So then I picked up the hammer. So by day, I used to work at Microsoft, and by night, I used to hammer away. And 2 years later, I had a scrap pile of 200 shells and no instrument. But something in me refused to give up. I contacted makers, renowned makers in Europe, and their generosity helped me a lot through my journey. They were generous enough to answer the questions that I had, and one small question at a time, the fog began to lift. So the very first year, I saw Daniel Waples on YouTube. The second year, I got his autograph on my instrument like a typical fanboy. The third year, he came and he played in Bangalore. I played an opening set for him on my handpan. The fourth year, I showed a handpan that I had crafted, and he introduced me on stage as India's very own handpan maker. And then Sumana Chandrasekhar, a senior Ghatam artist and the student of Sukanya Ramgopal ma'am, came to me and asked me if I could build a handpan for her. And over the course of next 3 months, I built a handpan for her. And when she played it on stage alongside Sukanya Ramgopal ma'am on the Ghatam Tarang, I felt that the instrument had gone full circle, a quiet step that had turned into a bold moment. But making handpans in India came with its own challenges. It was suppliers of specialized alloys of steel did not want to supply in small quantities. Even if we did find the right steel, it was nearly impossible to get the nitriding right. It required endless experimentation to find the right nitriding recipe to get the sound and the stability that we wanted. And then COVID came, the pandemic struck, and I could no longer work from the room within a room that I'd built in my two-bedroom apartment, and I had to move away. So I moved away to a small workshop space that was far away in a village in Bannerghatta near the national park. And I was just hammering away alone. But that wasn't the lowest point. The lowest point was yet to come. I broke my back. I got a slip disc, and the hammer lay on the floor where I left it. It was then, when I lay flat on my back, that I wondered, had all these small steps been for nothing? But then something shifted. A young man from the village joined me, and then another. And soon these boys started becoming trained artisans, skilled artisans who found purpose, stability, and pride in the work that they do. And today we're a team of 14 craftsmen, and from 200 failed shells, we are about 1,000 instruments in the hands of musicians, artists, and healers across the globe today. All this wouldn't have been possible without it wasn't just my leap, right? Because it was also the leap of my wife, Priyadarshini. So when I took this plunge into trying to make this instrument, she she put a pause on her aspirations to do her MS and her PhD, and held on to her job at Bosch to ensure that we could sustain this livelihood whilst I started crafting this instrument. And without her support, I couldn't have come here today. The handpan is a very easy instrument to play, right? There is no such thing as a wrong note. Every note is tuned to a particular scale, and it's fairly easy to play. All you need is a basic sense of rhythm, and anyone can probably get started in trying to play this instrument. But it's a very hard instrument to make. I mean, tuning each note is like solving a three-variable equation using hammers, right? Just to give you a gist of how hard it is to make one. So, I'd like to try something with all of you today. Um, if, with your permission, if all of you want, so you could probably close your eyes for a little while, right? Before we do that, let's all take a deep breath in and exhale. Yeah. It's not. Don't look at me. Don't look at the instrument. Just listen to its whisper. For those few moments, it wasn't about me. It wasn't about the instrument. It was about the whisper of this instrument. From the very first instrument that I crafted for Sumana Chandrasekhar, the instrument stands on the silent steps and the faith of others. What moves me the most is that handpans don't just live on stages for performance. The handpan lives in meditation centers, it lives in therapy clinics, and it lives in healing spaces. I've seen people close their eyes, breathe, and sometimes cry. One day, a woman came to me and then she said, I've never felt this calm in my entire life. And that's when I knew that this instrument no longer belongs to me, it belonged to them. So, this isn't just my journey, it could be yours too. So, I ask you, what quiet step are you willing to take today? What bold journey are you willing to follow? What quiet whisper are you willing to hear? Sometimes a whisper is louder than a shout. Thank you.